Memo bibi akwaba eba Melodies TV so. And one of the biggest scandals, corruption scandals, has been released by Manesseh Azuri, the fourth estate. Now, I'll go into it because ewa. Inti mesre nye kunyana tenase. Metreche nsem no ye widi kakra na matrase na wati asye. Ensem ne wa. We'll go into it so that you understand inti mesre tenase. Na ne tintini ni tietie muwa ne se Ghana ye fangwa yetu. Ye fangwa yetu. Ena abayin through finance minister Ken Ofori Atta ape company bi a company no munye edwuma bi awo because edwuma a company no mu claim say wo mo eye no say edwuma no government officials eye de dada Ghana hasi ye wo companies a wo mo ye say edwuma ne de dada ye ti omoka ena ya sheda ape company we ene ye de company na hyemu a company ni nye edwuma hwe omunye edwuma bia nanso every month yeti omu 24 million Ghana cedis. Amenda amene okasei ya extending omu deal no for the next 10 years. Inti for the next 10 years no sa company we omu beje 24 million Ghana cedis every single month. Yes. In a year they are taking about 100 million sa company we for the next 10 years. Abanya tisui through Ken Ofori Atta and omo assign sa deal no nti eno na Manesseh Azuri waye expose kesiye ede aba ama impenyimfo aba bontia aba bekasa Ghana Revenue Authority muni na aba bontia aba bekasa wo mo se we die enye we are going into it, so there are details you need to understand. Now ye can say politicians sika, this is how they steal from Ghanaians. Na unim ade enwa say company a ye ka ho asemi omu ni track record bia so mu ye adwuma omu nya adwuma bia da sa company a ye ka ho asemi say adwuma we ya say ye demo omu in the oil sector no omu nya bi da first time and you say oh dear, let's go into it yenko kenkan na Ghana for ntia ase me say ewa but ye be kenkan na wati ase nti no nyantobo ase na tenase. Now this is how we start. Also, in the control room in Tema, in the Greater Accra region, officials of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited, company in the Dino no Shannon Somame, you're from Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited. Ni ebetwaniti ane afreno SML. Also, officials of Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited tried to convince the Fourth Estate of its wild claims that it had helped to save Ghana billions of cedis that would have been lost in the downstream petroleum sector but for its intervention. Na sa company we womunye edwuma bia no so wanonda omonam ena womo keka omo tia journalist na journalist tro say oh company we omo aba boaga na ma ye save 3 billion kombe ni ho na ye ntro so that ebema Ghana fo hu say at least company ni ye edwuma nti omunye sike bia na omo se fata nanso na ye ntro. Also, the company also tried to justify why it receives up to 24 million Ghana cedis monthly payments from the government of Ghana in a questionable contract it signed with the Ministry of Finance and the Ghana Revenue Authority. A year-long investigation by Evans Azai Momensa, Ajua Adobia Owusu, and Manesseh Azuri Awuni of the Fourth Estate, however, revealed that the company, with the help of a section of Ghana's media, had made false and unsubstantiated claims of its operations that have served as the basis for the payments it received. It appears the Ministry of Finance and the GRA were aware the claims were false, for some officials of the GRA said they had confronted the company about its claims of savings and volumes on 2 separate occasions. Now, in some way, it will come later, don't worry. We're just introduction, so that Ghanaians will know what is going on. But let's go into the main issue. Let's go into the main issue. Okay, this is how we start. I say a few hours after the reporters confronted the management of SML with the findings of the investigation and asked for a response, the major services it claimed to render to the government disappeared from the company's website. Now, it will come, we'll come to that, I will explain, don't worry. Also, the investigation also uncovered that at a time, players in the downstream petroleum sector were questioning the relevance of SML's involvement. The Minister of Finance, Ken Ofori Atta, initiated a more outrageous deal that would entitle the company to over $100 million every year for the next 10 years. Inti, yeah expose ya yehu se company no, ye tio musika enso eni no. Na afi Ken Ofori Atta kwa extend omo contract. Company no ombe receive $100 million every year for the next 10 years. Omo fi abemu just next year. But sign a contract. Company ni benya $100 million. Now unim, this is how judgment debt occurs. Inti NDC abayin ba, na NDC abayin be huni said that be company we ejuma wo mo ye no ensem fata so mo nya we na NDC abayin terminate a. Obo se company we dey assemble be court. Say ye ni abayin wo deal. Say $100 million every year for 10 years into no NDC abayan ba be cancel into no say obe hene say judgment debt yenche sikanema company we. But we'll come to that. Now, this is how it starts. In the first of this series, we focus on a 2019 contract the government of Ghana signed with SML. The contract was signed at a time when superior and comprehensive measures had already been introduced by the government in 2018 to curtail losses in the downstream petroleum sector. So, this is how the story starts. Into 2019, a buying any company we assign a contract 2019. Now you say a buying assign a contract no. So you can't downstream petroleum sector, not just say the refinery and all the other side no money from the downstream petroleum sector. Into company we ni say deal now or more signing no or more ye juma in the downstream petroleum sector. In the upside of distribution of oil, the refinery of oil no, those sides no any offend the downstream petroleum sector. But Manesseh Azuri say time a company we sign a contract no na Ghana has say no companies wo hwa wo mo yes nyuma ne dada company we juma yes wo mo sign a contract o mo ye no enye say bia vacancy wo ho da bi companies wo hwa wo mo ye juma ne dada nti na ehun hia say e be sign sa contract ne kra. Now was the SML Ghana started what it calls revenue assurance services to the GRE in the downstream petroleum sector in June 2020. The downstream sector is responsible for the refinery, distribution, and retail of oil and gas, just as I explained. You can't downstreamer. That sector, no? Okay. Now, so the managing director of the company, Christian Tetesoti, said SML was an offshoot of a timber company he would not name. Inti Manesseh Azuri moya investigation, no? And no company we penny baako director. Managing director ekoko kasae eno si o company ne kra no ni senior company no eye timber company bi but ono de ombo timber company ne edin but Manesseh Azuri ehun ya akoko hu sa timber company no ena ni pakra na timber company ne ye ne dia. Let's read on. Was the online records however link SML to Evans Timbers Limited. The CEO of SML, Evans Edusei, is also the CEO of Evans Timbers Ghana, a company that won a defamation case against the Informer newspaper in 2014. In that case, Justice Uta Paul Derry, who was later dismissed by the Judicial Service of Ghana for bribery and corruption, ruled that the newspaper could not substantiate its claim that Evans Timbers Ghana used its political connections with the chief of staff Kojo Mpienim to undertake dubious transactions. Now, Manesseh Azuri muko say company no eye papa bi dia ye friend no Evans Edusei. Na sa Evans Edusei no yeso ono no onim politicians. Na Evans Edusei osanso o company bi ye friend Evans Timbers Limited. Na sa Evans Timbers Limited 2014 newspaper bi ye friend no Informer newspaper eye expose di fa sa Evans Timbers Limited hu ami ehun say the owner of the company and our company no omo de omo political links no ye deals bia ensem fata yes transactions bia wo mo Ghana kro no ba asem no kokopie wo court no judge otena asem no so e ka tre newspaper ne say masa mo atwa ntro ato company ne so enti ye twa abo defamation eto newspaper ne so na sa judge na wotena asem no so no Ono one of the judges later ye babe expose na ye pame no say eya na oje bribe edi asem ema nkrofo. Ye nka say judge no di asem ema company no, but the judge was exposed later say eya na oje bribe edi asem nkrofo. So it could be say judge no edi ma company no ema company ni win case no. Okay, let's go on. I say information the Fourth Estate obtained from the Office of the Registrar of Companies shows that Ivan Sedusai is the sole shareholder of SML. Say Ivan Sedusai no onunkuto na company ni yenedia. Also, Ivan Sedusai and his daughter Esther Edusei are the directors of the company. Inti yeka company ni directors Ivan Sedusai ne baba ye friend Esther Edusei. Also, SML's principal activities are general trading and services, import and export of general goods, and audit service activities. Company SML na yamana sa downstream oil contract here and the mohaba asema yeti omu 24 million a month. Sa company ukwa registered journal na ukwa he company ni say ye register ye no ejuma ye se omo ya omo si o ejuma omo ye ne se omo ye general trading and services omo kra nyama eba beton. Yes, say ejuma no omo se omo enti obi a wa register company a wo se o kra nyama ba beton eba ne se nende sa company yama ne contracts with the oil sector. Let's continue. Also, the managing director of SML, Christian Tetesoti, was Ghana's controller and accountant general from 2005 and 2009 to 2009 and is currently a board member of the Internal Audit Agency. He was once an assistant commissioner at the GRE. Inti currently company no managing director no. The owner no different no. Owner no different no dey wen yin nim, but managing director of company no. Ono no oyobi a na kufuo time ono na wo ye accountant general. Controller and accountant general. Kufuo time. Now was it in 2019 when the GRA entered into an agreement with SML Ghana, Mr. Soti was the technical advisor to the Commissioner General of the GRA. Mr. Soti left his job as the technical advisor to the GRA Commissioner General in the same year to manage SML Ghana in 2020 when the company started implementing its contract with the GRA. In 2019, our company ye can was SML almost signed a deal with Ghana Revenue Authority. That time na company no the managing director and that ye can was me. No ye juma Ghana Revenue Authority. Inti obuaye ema company ninya deal. Company ninya deal ni wie ye no. Eno jaye juma ye e Ghana Revenue Authority. Eno ba be share sa SML company. Yentwaso. Hey, Ghana. I say the GRA has been the only customer of SML Ghana since its establishment, according to Mr. Soti. This means at the time the company was handpicked for the contract through the single source procurement method, it had no prior experience in the services it claimed to have expertise. Na eyana BBC no medwen ho amenti ase. Say company na aban airman a contract 24 million every month. Na company no ni track record bia. Wonye ejuma biada. Now so ya peke no aban na nkasa de nsa peke no. If you don't know corruption, this is top level corruption. You see, we need to speak against this because how dey we won. Company ni nye ejuma da wo. Ejuma la company ni e ma ne contract wonye da wo. And enye say oko tendering say oko say competitive bidding. And ye selecting ehun so ono ye de ensa na picking say wo bra ye ma contract we. As a MELODIES amiti he. Ebia ye say cars aban person okra car eba Ghana. Mini mejuma nim menye ejuma saada. Na aban de nsa afame say wo bra ye be ma oska na wakwa akokra. Mini mejuma nim. Now so ye de amame ni ye tia misika pudo every month. If that is not corruption, then I don't know what corruption is. That is what happened. This company omunye se ejuma neda. According to Manesseh Azuri EXPOSES no. Yet also a procurement expert and consultant Kobena Atabedu says the contract raises questions about a possible breach of Ghana's procurement laws. He questions the basis for which a company that had no prior experience in the services being procured was single sourced for the contract. Inti expert inti asye se company a wonye adwuma ne da ne ye de yensa afa ne se wono mbra ne yentia ne se sika pudoyi omo nti asye. Also, to justify its contract and why it has been paid hundreds of millions of cedis by the government of Ghana, SML falsely claimed that it was rendering a wide range of services that has stopped malfeasance in the downstream petroleum sector. In the company when so, esanse yama ni sika pudoyi a womunim se Ghana for ba be hu a ye be bisa se na mo munye adwuma we da ene ema musika pudoyi nti no. Omo nso nam e na omo kan se yen yama abanye nya sika inta ne yenya sa contract no edwuma ayeye no ema abanye nya sika ewo the downstream ma explain it downstream petroleum sector now into the refinery and the distribution of oil and gas no petroleum products no omo trese omo aban ema omo contract no omo tumi abo edwuma amende enkrofo ntumi nwia fango wo Ghana biom inta no munya sa contract no. That is what they were claiming, but sa claim the crano later sa expose we better say it was a lie. Yento aso. I see on its website, SML stated the SML digitalization of downstream petroleum product measurement has stemmed the tide of underreporting, diversion and dilution of fuel products and general non-compliance in the petroleum industry sector. Inti company natural on my website so say I buy more contract no more ejuma o mo yenti ama enne fango ewie ansem enkosubium ama ende si ye fra fango ni mu ni ya fremu na ye wia ne sa nyama no ama enkosubium company nsem o matro on my website no so o mo ejuma o mo abo aban aye no. I say as part of this investigation, the Fourth Estate team spent months interrogating the systems put in place by the government of Ghana through its sector agencies and third-party contractors to curtail the anomalies SML Ghana claimed to be tackling. The team had rare access to the National Command Center of the National Petroleum Authority, where we interviewed officials of the NPA and private sector service providers. Third-party companies working with the NPA were responsible for checking dilution, diversion, under-declaration and other anomalies in the sector. The Customs Division of the GRA also has officials at the depots and various entry points to ensure that all petroleum products that enter the country are properly accounted for. They do this with independent monitors who police the processes for the owners of petroleum products at various points of the product chain. Into a more say, company na dia wo kan se wono aboa ema ACBA no. Ghana ye wo adwumakuo bi wo ho a wo ye se adwuma ne dedada. Into Uko National Petroleum Authority a omo ne other people assign a contractor ene ema enkrofo ntumi nwia fango wo Ghana. Se eba ne se fango no ye cheki hu ne se ye mfre mu ya another company bi nso wo ho de dada Ghana no de dada ye ne sa company na sign contract wo no nso ebe cheki hu ne se fango na ye pure ye mfre mu ye it is a company we ba no obeka so no nso se adwuma no na wo ya sign contract de dada ne nkrofo bebre sign contract de dada mo ye se adwuma ne de dada into wo nso ba na obeka se wo ye sa de na wo patre na ye ntro. Now see the Fourth Estate team also toured some fuel depots in the country and interviewed depot operators as well as oil marketing companies and officials of the GRA. The evidence gathered showed that SML's claim that it was checking diversion, dilution, and under declaration was completely false. Inti Manesseh Azuri EXPOSES eko depots na wo Ghana ni na company we trese omo no mu ye adwuma wo ho so that ye nwia fango ye mfre mu no. Manesseh Azuri mu ko omo ko hu se company ni omo boa omo nkrofo bi eni ho omo ye se adwuma no. But the other people are any omo assign contract, buy any omo assign contract omo ye other governmental agencies are omo ye se adwuma no de omo wo ho ba company we nkrofo bi eni ho ntia ye ntro na company we etwa. Now say our investigation revealed that the introduction of the Enterprise Relational Database Management System in 2018 had curtailed the continuous operations of oil marketing companies that owed the government in taxes and margins and did not pay within the stipulated time. This was confirmed by the GRA and MPA. Manesseh Azuri Samson no who say in 2018 krano Ghana buying a launch some software bia some management system program no eboa ema Ghana yenya yesika free some of sa companies no eho sa oil companies ne ho because oil company bi mo omo under recorded omo wie sika ni bi into 2018 na Ghana ye implementing system sa de dada Ghana Revenue Authority ni NPA no enso just say admit say indeed it is a company we ba no be ka say ono nso na adwuma a wo ye ne sa na etia oboa system I implemented 2018 a solve our problem ne de dada. Also the NPA and Ghana Revenue Authority said the ERDMS had curtailed underreporting and other anomalies in the downstream petroleum sector. Senior Americano. Also a company called Rock Africa was also engaged by the NPA to electronically monitor the tankers that load petroleum products at the depots. The electronic seals send signals to the NPA command center if a truck discharges product outside the fuel station it is supposed to discharge. Inti abayin any company being so a friend of Rock Africa assign a contractor. Sa Rock Africa no omo yusu infidie at the checky tankers no so that you be who say omo a womo eba be loadi tankers no omo divert it is a company way because wono nso na dwuma wo ye no no oboa because ye the contract na mo before fraud that answer sa company way you sign the contract no it ni na no e checks ye say company no claims a wo claim say dwuma wo ye ntia ye money 24 million a month bia no say nwuma ni na no e contract ankrofo foforo ye say nwuma no ti ono wonye ti die ntia ne ya sign the contract na ya man say sika no also this according to the NPA, curtails the diversion of tax-free petroleum products that are declared as exports to landlocked West African countries but sold in Ghana. Fangoni bi wo a yenje to wo so because yen yusu wo Ghana. Die yusu wo Ghana na ene yeje to wo so. First no, die sine say some of these oil companies no omo declare say o fango no mun yusu wo Ghana so that yen taxi omo no more divert it. In 2018, aban NSR Rock Africa yi eba be sign a contract yi no. Afi ni etumi hu say okay fango we a ye loadi a ye ka say yen yusu wo Ghana yi. Oba no be yusu wo Ghana ye be ba be chew. Ba company we trese SML company or no trese wono na oye checks no so that yen wi afango ne sanyama ni na. Meanwhile companies wo ho mo ye say nyuma no ye kwa check yen so ye hu ye no SML no oni ho a wo ye say adwuma no companies na eni o mo assign deal ne dada no ene ye. I hope you understand what's happening. Now don't worry, let's continue. Me say it will be long but we are continuing. I say another company, Nationwide Technologies Limited, had been engaged to undertake fuel marking, which tackles the problem of dilution and smuggling of petroleum products into the country. Inti, Yasansa signed a deal with another company, BFN Nationwide Technologies Limited. Enonso no. Fango na ye frame no. Omonso di mfidie ebe hu ne se da bi fango na ya frame no. Ye enye papa. Inti ebe chew. Meanwhile, sa SML company insu claim say onunso edwuma wo ye no no. I say our investigation showed that the problems that occasioned revenue leakages in the sector were being tackled by different companies to the satisfaction of state authorities, but SML was not one of them. The investigation say all the problems at SML yi ka se wono na wo solve. Other state authorities and our companies who wa wa mo solve this problem no, but on no SML no, o court grounds on na onye se edwuma no. But ono claim say edwuma wo ye wo dey 24 million a month no no na so ye call grounds no only grounds cry wo ye edwuma no nkofofo Friday o mo assign contract o mo so gi sika na ye say edwuma ni mum o say SML regulatory authorities and independent operators in the sector could not establish any of the problems SML was solving. Inti afi SML mpanyimfo no ye dey asem na beto o mo anim say the edwuma mo claim say mo ye aban ne nkrofo foforo bi assign ni deal ya omo yes edwuma ni 19 na dey na mo patra mo ntretre mu na afi omo anim ni Manesseh Azuri so anim ni afi omo ntumi ntretre nsem mu achi omo Ose Mr. Soti also admitted to the Fourth Estate that SML was not into checking under reporting or anomalies in the downstream sector. Nti afei omo hu say ya chi omo no omo penyi managing director no afei na o admitted to Manesseh say oh yeboa sa we a ye ka say ye check under reporting or anomalies in the downstream sector no ye ejuma no yenye yeboa enye say ejuma ne ye afei asema wo ka kire Manesseh no because Manesseh akọ ye checks e the evidence about to nenim ti afei ohun say yakwa ko hu ni say ne nkrofo any grounds of mu ye say ejuma no we pay more catch Manesseh say omoboa na enye say ejuma no no mo ye. I say we don't go into that. We said when we asked whether SML had ever detected or identified any issues of under declaration. I say we don't go into that. He said when we asked into Manesseh mu bisa no, I say that be enye ejuma ye no. I say despite evidence to the contrary, SML made false claims on its website about resolving the problems under reporting, diversion and dilution of fuel products and general non-compliance in the petroleum industry sector. Inti na on my website no da ho say ejuma wo mo ye no but afei Manesseh did evidence ni tre no o say da bi enye de ye ni. O say officials of the petroleum division of the GRE expressed shock when the Fourth Estate team mentioned the listed services SML claimed to provide. SML was contracted to render the services to the GRE. Tina afei Manesseh echo back to GRE. Echo ka say mo na mo ne nkrofo we sign contract na mo ni o mo sign e nkrofo e nsem a o mo atro o mo website so say wo mo ye no eni ejuma wo mo say o mo ye no eni say o mo check so that ye mfra fangu nim o mo check so that ye nwia na afei GRE for no crash shock say hey dabi ye de ejuma we nkrofo ka so mo ye ne de ye ne wo ground so o mo boa ye hu o mo wo ground so bia it was the GRA officials led by the head of petroleum, Meshak Kwame Danso, were present when we visited SML. Nti afi na Manesseh ne GRA mpanyifo no akwa akosra sa company we SML company we aye ne o ma sign contract 24 million a month. Because na GRA for na shock say company ni si ejuma mo ye no ndavo mu di Manesseh echi ekọ company ne ho. To confront the company with our findings, before we started our interview, the GRA official said SML needed to clear the air on the stated service before we began our interview. Tomodu company no wana GRA for no katre impenifo no say hey masa yesremo. Yen GRA for no ye na ye wo grounds. Ye ni momo mo ye say nnwuma na mu claim say mo ye no. Mo mama na se ntiase ansa na interview no be sha ase kra no. Mo mama na se ntiase say mo nye say nnwuma no. It was said the company's managing director, Christian Soti, said SML did not state anywhere that the company was providing services that checked under declaration, dilution, and diversion of petroleum products. Now, if a manager nature say, yen can will be da, say Juma ye no. A Juma moka so mo yenti a ye 24 million cedis every month. No, after the manager no say, oh, mon can will be da so mo ye say Juma no, or mon can da. Now, after he see also, when we pointed out the claims to the management of SML from the company's website, Mr. Soti said the information was put on the website in error. And when Manesseh say, hey, mon can will be some way you juma with that. Mr. One of our phone and be a website and trend say, and your websites ni. Again, I'm not trouble. What trouble say juma muyeni. Inje, I then ho back at me say, mon can will be a say juma moya no. Now, if papa say, oh, your website no. Dear you trouble on a mistake. Hey. I said, oh, dear trouble website no a mistake. And I say, oh no, we are not involved in diversion. We are only at the depots. If the tin petroleum product is lifted, we don't know if it is diverted or not. Tafe they will pay more can. So yeah, dear Dabi, yenye say juma no, yeah, dear yin to me check say petroleum products no be we be their fa baby ye dey into me interest ade no say you be afre mu say dey yo enye ye adwuma no and also he added it is GRA customs that will determine where it goes and they will follow up. We are not capable, we don't have men outside. So we no ka say adwuma na nkasa no state company say from GRA ne customs no and say adwuma no I say a few hours after our meeting, the claim of providing services that check dilution, diversion, and under declaration disappeared from the website of SML. Inti Manesseh mo koye interview ni wie ya papa no beka so yen kan sa ye trend say website no so afa ye be ha ne say pa omo delete ade na fi website no so omo delete ejuma mo say omo ya enu nti eti omo 24 million every month no omo delete ejuma na fi website no so. Now, Otaso said the executive director of the Africa Center for Energy Policy, Benjamin Boachi, told the Fourth Estate that players in the industry were surprised when the government awarded a contract to SML. He said solutions to most problems in the sector had already been provided and they wondered what SML was coming to do. Inti ekuobi wo ho from Africa Center for Energy Policy. Na omonso nkrofobia omo engaged in the oil sector. It's omo penye kra no one Manesseh Azuri ye interview no. Oka tre Manesseh say no kware sa nkrofo deal abomo ni aban esan ni ye yetin ho asem. Yen yetin ho asem. Man no kra ne say ya kra yetin ho asem no. Ye hu say sa deal ya wo asan ni na ento asum. Because na nyansa bi enim. Because what's the reason na wo asan ni deal na? Now companies be wo ho mo yese nyuma ne dedada. Inti na ye kra ye ntia ase se aban akwa akosan ni deal bi sei. Inti omo mo sector no e na afi wo mo ka sansem no. Ose Mr. Boaji said the remaining problems in the sector were not at the depots where SML was stationed to monitor. By problems, Mr. Boaji was referring to the non-payment of taxes and margins by OMCs after the sale of products. Even at the depots, the GRA confirmed to the Fourth Estate that it was practically impossible to lose product and by extension revenue to the state, even if there were no electronic systems in place. So much I say, depots are downstream side, depot ni die. Problem be any hosa o. Omo de omo ni problem inti company where I be sign say omo ba solve problem be no. Inti ehona Manesseh Azuri eba be posti front page newspaper and you see this tells you Ghana how sometimes the newspapers no they work. Inti company where juma wo mu claim say wo mu ye no mu claim say wo mu save Ghana 3 billion Ghana cedis. You see, all in the bid to justify the 24 million Ghana cedis na omo ye den omo gino. Inti na fe omo di kan ya hyase e kan. So omo contract na ya sign no e save your mind 3 billion so that Ghana 40 say ye ti omo 24 million every month. Because so but omo save Ghana 3 billion. Omo save Ghana 3 billion inti no e yes omo jisike bisa. Inti newspapers mu ni aba be true say o company no e save Ghana 3 billion. Na fe MPP phone so den platform say any and the digitization and the buying by ye save your money 3 billion because you sign a deal with company B. Na ken for ya tanso nam na waka nini na say wagadre. So this is the newspaper, front page of the newspaper. I say the Fourth Estate also confronted the managing director of SML Ghana with the figures the company churned out as savings Ghana made in the downstream petroleum sector because of its operations. First was the claim SML made in March 2021 that it has saved Ghana over 1 billion in revenue because of its services. Enti ejuma we a company claim so omo yeyi ende ye ni na no from Manesseh Azuri a finding out a company no ye ne hu ne se e ntro wo mo nya se enyuma bia no. First no March 2021 omo claim say omo save Ghana 1 billion Ghana cedis from ejuma no omo ye no. But and then we've seen say no mu nya ejuma bia nti no clearly no e ntro. Nti hona Manesseh de to mu nim so okay. Mu claim say March 2021 no mu save aban 1 billion Ghana cedis. Inti tretremu. Now, I say the company started its operations in 2020. From the revenue figures we obtained from the GRA, the difference in the total revenue from the downstream petroleum sector between 2019 and 2020 was 800 million. In the first place, because company interest in 2021, or save Ghana in 2020 almost save 1 billion cedis. Almost save your money 1 billion. Manesseh so kwa checking on who say ye oil sector ne krano from 2019 to 2020 no sika o mani nyaye from the oil sector no 800 million. It is 800 million. How is it that you are claiming say we save in 1 billion? I hope you understand what we are saying. Akwa say sebi uye ejuma. Ejuma na wo ye no. Ye tia 1,000 cedis. Na wakwa catch obi anim say wo ejuma na wo ye na 1,000 cedis ni ye tia wo. Ene no penso ni sika wenya. Na afei wakwa catch obi say oh Charlie. Hey, some months we dear why ye ejuma ma wenya sika na sika ye tia wo no. Wetumi save 2,000 every sika na ye tia wo ni mu. O boss krabeka say hey. Na ejuma wo ye ya ye tia wo yi. 1,000 cedis ni enim say ye tia wo. Now out of 1,000 no, who see then save 2,000 cedis? 1,000. Because 1,000 na unya. Na 1,000 na unya no. Ebia o ka say we save 500 cedis aye hu is okay. But unya 1,000 cedis every month. Also we claim say some month na unya 1,000 no. And just so ye juma baby fufra, just say we nya sika fufra kan hu da bi 1,000 ne pen na we nya. Now so we claim say we save 2,000 cedis from that 1,000. Inti company ni claims no. That is what they said. It was a lie. No more claim say we save Ghana 1 billion. Meanwhile, na sika Ghana no ye make it from the oil sector that time no was only 800 million. And do 1 billion input. Itu konya 1 billion ni we save yen. Yeah, tiaso. So if all the incremental revenue in the sector were attributed to the company's operations, it will still fall short of the 1 billion Ghana cedi it claimed to have saved. Exactly what I'm saying. Now, say in February 2023, SML Ghana made a more audacious claim that became the banner headline in Ghana's biggest newspaper, the state-owned Daily Graphic. The story also received wide coverage in major media outlets in Ghana. In its report to the media, the company claimed its operations had helped to save Ghana 3 billion. In 2021, Omokachin someone saved 1 billion. After you do 2023, company Ebabontin in February, almost afraid ye save Ghana 3 billion. Sa 3 billion nenso Manesseh edi sikani bomu Ghana ye oil sector sikani bomu ye di sikani bomu no amount of money a my name make do 3 billion just around 2 point something. Also the Minister of Finance Ken Ofori Atta was the first to mention billions of losses in the sector which SML Ghana was going to save. When he commissioned the operations of SML in 2020, Mr. Ofori Atta claimed that by engaging SML, the government had eliminated the problems which existed prior to the entry of SML. It was about 2 to 3 billion cedis of losses. Also, we are really excited about this change, where we can now determine and get the exact figures we want. Ken Ofori Atta said, "Intina Ken Ofori Atta so nam as usual all the year politics. Say, oh, company we are any almost signing contract, omo aboa Ghana pan because ye save sika almost save o money 3 billion and omo na ka Ghana ye 3 billion ashe. Hey, meanwhile oil sector no sika we make claim do sa 3 billion na mo de year politics. Akwa say na saying expose ameye on employment data and events and NHI MPP for kwa was say ye nyuma ye kreti ye 2 million oba was ye 2.3 oba was 2. Enwa was the SML Ghana admitted it did not perform the services it listed on its website as curtailing irregularities in the sector and deleted them from its website after we confronted its management. Inti enyuma mo se mo aye mo claim say a save your money 3 billion no afei de mo kra mo claim say mo nye say enyuma ne kra biom after Manesseh e the evidence no ba beto mo nim. Inti clearly no utumi hu ne say everything was orchestrated. Serious orchestration in a course. Yen Ghana for ntro nye company no yen man contract no munye sika na nim I do on my way. I say, but even if the company was carrying out those services and all the incremental revenue within the period of its operation was credited to its efforts, the figure would have been 2.4, just like I'm saying. Into 3 billion no so mo save yen no. So ye the Ghana oil no company oil sector no kra no sika yenya during the time mo so mo save yen to 3 billion no. Ye the sika ni nabo mo a o man no sika ye make ye 2.4 billion. Just as the example I gave you. Sika ye tia a month 1,000 cedis. Also say wait to be save 2,000 cedis from that 1,000. How possible is it? That is exactly what is happening here. Also, when we put this fact to the managing director, He said he did not know about the 3 billion savings. Inti afei Manesseh ebubo bibia shishe adwuma no edit to papa nanim say okay. Musi boy save your money say. Your money cry no yehu ne say sika yenya ye say. How is it that mutu me save yen 3 billion? Meanwhile sika yenya ye 2.4 billion. How is it that musi mu ye say? Meanwhile adwuma no kra monye. Why is it that musi say on the grounds mu ni ho? Afei de to managing director nanim no. Papa ne say chale media masa me nim 3 billion ho ansem bia. I say, Master, media me nim save your my media me nim 3 billion once in I say, Udin kind first, a Juma Mose mo ye one more website. Me be catch afi musi o mu nye say Juma no. Afi sika musi mo save ya throw newspaper mu daily graphic front page. Me they try on so nim ho asem. Hey! I say what I want is the agreement from here that the figures are not accurate and that we cannot say that your intervention saved 3 billion. Nti Manesseh Katen say masa me pesa o admit it. Say figures no enya accurate. Untumi nkan trade Ghana for say we saving 3 billion when the oil sector we've made 2.4 billion from it. So why is the 3 billion now see we saving? Nti pesa o admit Manesseh asemo akatre papa no. And I say the fourth estate Manesseh Azuri insisted that Mr. Soti should admit the false claim, which was still on the website of the company even while the interview was taking place. I say, I have told you that in terms of the 3 billion Ghana cedis, I am not aware of it because we were told about the publication. We even called the journalist. I think the journalist, picked it out of context. Tiawana papa nika tre Manesseh say, oh, na se makadro se me nim ho asem bia. Ye de yeti say journalist bi na wakwa control newspaper mu. Ye cry ye free journalist no. Emi ehun say journalist no cry no ye mistake. Inti company ye djuma wo mka so mo ya eno hu nti ye ti omu 24 million every month no. First, almost say a error. Ewo mo website, emo mo kwakwa clear. Afei, APM wo newspaper mu say, omo save Ghana 3 billion. Ejuma mo ye nti omo save 3 billion. Manesseh de to mo nim say ye ntro no. Afei, omo say a mistake out of context. Na journalist no ne ye mistake no mo de omo nim ho hwe. And papa ne kan say, I can't remember the 3 billion Ghana cedis. I remember the 1 billion. Or say 1 billion no mo kan so mo save Ghana ne de okai, but 3 billion ne de onkai. And when Manesseh said, but the 3 billion was from your outfit. And I say, but 3 billion, no, a whole company. And a story, no, a free. And a papa say, yes. You remember when you were talking, I was still speaking about 1 billion cedis. Because after 1 year, that was the statement I put out. And Manesseh said, so who put the 3 billion Ghana cedis out? The 3 billion story, no, one of the two. And IT person, no, ebabe interrupted interview na Manesseh ne papa no eye. And IT person no or no be answer Manesseh Katen say it was a mistake because if you look at other publications, it was just a consultation between GRA and SML. I did the presentation and I was giving them the expected revenue. Our system can generate expected revenue. So what we did was not even the accurate figure because only GRA can give accurate figures. So that is a caption by a journalist. It's the IT person because say, oh, no, any journalist for no, any a chicken como, and our trail or musica or more expect it. It's the journalist na ne kofa story no, and a cockatron the science journalist in antin sem na see IT person no, or share senya ne boss na so yashino, and no babeji question no answer sir. And a Manesseh say, the problem here is that if the journalist made a mistake, it is also on your website this morning, even as we speak. The Manesseh Katen says a journalist need a mistake. Also, what they are two websites so. It's a journalist mistake no. I didn't know also my website so. I said this has been there since February. So if a journalist makes a mistake and reports something I did not see, and I put that same thing on my website, then it means an endorsement. And Manesseh Katen, the journalist now can be also a mistake. Unim say no correct. Akwa kofa their two websites no. Not just say, oh, for us to say journalists na semne no quarry. And a papa say, as for me, I don't know about any website matters. And a papa Manesseh say, media, me name website in Sembia. And this is the screenshot of the website. Oh, here, story in that GRA, SML collaboration saves Ghana 3 billion. The story in that website. So, yeah, the chef papa no say onu do name website in Sembia. I say, when asked how much SML was paid for its services in the downstream sector, Mr. Soti said he did not know. Manesseh Katen said, okay, no problem. Inti ejuma mo se mo ye no. Sisi a ma mbisa mo. Media ma find out say aban tua mo 24 million every month. But me bisa aban say no tua mo. Papa ne say minim. And also the GRA has not responded to our right to information request. Inti Manesseh tro koma GRA say omo no mo sign a contract no. Right to information omo mano information on amount. And Manesseh sanso troye Emma Finance Ministry say omonso Emma information on amount. Na send America no Manesseh na investigative journalist. Ono aye ne ground checks. Ama we hu ne say company ni receive 24 million. But wasanso atro officially ama GRA any finance ministry say omonfa figures no enye den embra bonten because nkrofo ye adwuma no mo say omo ya mo 24 million na afedo mu di na ye adwuma no. Ejuma ne benefit a wo se enu hunti save Ghana 3 billion inti no omo se fata se ye ti omo 24 million every month no afen so omo deny se enye sa no mo kan inti na eno no ejuma pote ben no mo ye ti omo se sikapudu no. I say with the current figures the company receives at least 240 million for services whose value it could not show when we asked. Inti enda ye no ka say company no yetian 240 million Ghana cedis. Ejuma waye inti a yetian sa 240 no muntumi ntre. Se ejuma no so mu claim say wo mo aye inti a yamo mu 240 no. Enkrofo foforo ye se ejuma no e na company ni hye etire e no mo gisika omo nya ejuma bia allegedly. Just say SML Ghana is essentially a plug-in into the revenue stream of the state taking money for no job done because what they are supposed to be doing is already being done. It is just people finding ways to hive off some of our revenues into private pockets. And the reasonable thing to do is to cancel that contract. Inti Benjamin Bwache, woye obi penyi wo mo hwe sa oil sectors and semi mu no. Asemo a wo no de wa pemu aka ne say sa company ye company bia wo mo ye plug-in keke e obi. Na oni brain ni bia wo wa aban mu. Ena ya hye that company na mo hye nchen twen Ghana oil sector no without ejuma bia mo nya ejuma bia na ya hye da ama mo aba omo gisika no ade akwa politician bi pocket ono de wa kan plain until I say aban a cancel deal no. I say while SML Ghana claimed its activities resulted in revenue increases which it interpreted as savings for Ghana in the downstream petroleum sector. The Ghana Revenue Authority told the Fourth Estate that revenue increments in the sector are due to two factors. In the company, we say no more claims on no Ghana oil sector yenye sika no Revenue Authority nature said dabi. Oil sector ne die sika na eba no two factors. One of the factors, according to the GRA, is an increase in the volumes of petroleum products imported and consumed in the country. As the economy grows and more people buy vehicles, industries and other economic activities that are fueled by petroleum products also increase. So I say the entire Ghana yenye sika every fango mu say and the Ghana for bebre ato cars. Industries bebre use fuel. Inti ye kraba engrofo bebre to ema yenya sika. Very very simple. Demand supply. Basic economics. I say it is not only the volume increase that gives us an increase in revenue. Sometimes within the period there are changes in tax rates. The tax is on specifics. If on volumes so as the rate changes, into say the essence of buying sika every sa fango mu no, and also your taxes because ye crab bebreba not taxes no so e wo so a abanya more money. As the SML Ghana admitted to the Fourth Estate that it does not import petroleum products and its operations have not added a liter of petroleum product to the volumes. Into company we kra no yeko hwemu no enye so omo krafango kraba Ghana omo nkrafango mpumba nti ejuma ben no mo ye omo tumi ntre na so ye ti omo 240. Hey Ghana, hey, also since SML started its operation, the government of Ghana has increased tax rates twice and added new taxes on petroleum products. According to the GRA, this means more revenue for the government, and a company that played no role in either of the two variables cannot take credit for revenue increments and purported savings for the state. Also, the GRA and NPA said revenue losses in the sector occurred when oil marketing companies lifted petroleum products from the depot and absconded with taxes. Some OMCs also claim that the petroleum products were meant for sale in other West African countries and therefore were not supposed to attract tax, but they turned around to sell them in the country. The state regulatory institutions have put in measures to track and stop these practices, and SML Ghana is not involved in any of these systems. The measures put in place before SML Ghana was contracted were said to be adequate according to players in the industry and state regulators. What we've been saying. Answer near best sign SML deal no. Near see a juma or more claims or more no. Or how be any ho. Or mine any solution to that already. Inti nani pakone background ni me juma wo babe. And ya jina ye tian is ende. Yes, and so extending the contract, I say 10 years. Every year will be $100 million. So that is the expose. That is the expose. Manesseh Azuri or the Abba. Senya Mekato say this would be long. You can't say we bewa. In fact, there are more things you can read it. Okay, me say the recording no close to an hour. So up to this point, you've understood what went on, what was going on, and all that. Or mine, the end there, what you see. So this is the new scandal about Bontain. When you your comment box, hey, Charlie.